We've got something like 6 days of really hot temperatures to come, and although that is good news, it's come a little bit late in season for a lot of things, like this butternut squash plant behind me. It's got lots of little fruits on it, but they're probably about 3 inches long. They ain't got time to reach full maturity now. They usually grow to a really big size, then they've got to turn brown before you harvest. And although they also call it a winter squash, that doesn't mean that it'll grow quite happily through winter. And since it's completely invaded this bench behind me and showing not much sign of producing anything worthwhile, I think I'm just going to call it a day with that squash and pull it up. And I'm going to be doing that this week with 1 or 2 plants, like the melon that I've got in the greenhouse. It's not going to amount to anything. This weather is just too little, too late. So I'm going to spend this week pulling up plants that I know aren't going to amount to anything as far as harvests are concerned. And also have a bit of a tidy around garden. I'll be taking those canes down that we grown the peas up. And although you could leave them up and save yourself a job for next year, if you leave them stuck in ground through autumn and winter, those canes are just basically going to rot. So we might as well take them up, because it only takes 10 minutes to put the frame back up the following season. And then we'll decide what we want to do around garden. We know we've got potatoes that are going to want harvesting at some point this week. But I'm also thinking about having a little change around. Maybe with a couple of raised beds, maybe even a greenhouse, to maximise the amount of sun that plants get. We've got some germination on these salad containers. We only did those last week as well. But we've already got signs that something's on its way, which is great. So I'll go and put those down in container garden. Probably put those onions down there now as well, since they seem quite established. That's those cabbage microgreens that we're doing. And you can see we've got some germination. But we're still leaving these covered up. Hopefully they'll grow a lot quicker over the next few days and start pushing that lid up. Like those did, that we still haven't harvested. But it doesn't hurt to let them grow on for as long as you want. That's French breakfast radish. See, butterflies are all about. Still trying to get into these nets to get to those cabbages. We've got some good looking cabbages in there. I'm getting very close to harvesting that one. It's a very good size. I think we'll get these out today as well. I think I'll pull them tomato plants up as well. We've still got loads and loads of tomatoes to come from greenhouses. And there's still a few on here. But I might just take the plants up. And I'll take that cane structure down out of the way. It'll take 2 minutes to take this up. They're only pushed into ground, so I might have new plans for this part of the garden come next year. Maybe a little jig around with some of these hoop tunnels as well. And this area definitely needs a bit of a clean up. We've got lots and lots of containers that are finished now, so I'll get all this part cleaned up as well. The only thing we've got on here that's any good is this spinach. But that's definitely got to stay out at the sun today. It's going to be 81 this afternoon. And I've refilled those trays in container garden as well, just to make sure everything's got enough water. There's only a couple of tomatoes left on these plants as well, so I think we'll take those up. I'll harvest what's red. But before things like that get to them. And I'm still not sure what to do about this pumpkin plant. We have got quite a few pumpkins on it, but once again, is it too little, too late for anything to reach maturity? Because we need these to reach full size by October. And although they only get to about the size of a tennis ball, they've still got quite a long way to go. So this could be another plant that I might just pull up this year, because it is trying, but I just don't think we're going to get anything from it. I can use the bench space for something else. I think I'm going to move these greenhouses. It's not a small job, I must admit, but this part of the garden gets shade during the afternoon. So I think this, being such a big area, would be perfect to put brassicas straight in ground and cover with nets. And we'll take those greenhouses and I'll put them over there where they get maximum sun all day. That big one can go down bottom, and then the small one can go here on this bit of ground next to one of the same size, because that's also an 8x6. We'll put that 12x8 down bottom. But before we do anything, we've got to dismantle these greenhouses. I'm not sure it's the right week for that job, but we'll see how we go. So I've decided to make a few changes to garden this week. I've got plenty of time to do it steadily, because we're not going to get any rain for probably 7 to 8 days now. But that part of the garden does get that extra little bit of shade through the day, and we've had real problems this year with cauliflowers and calabrese and broccoli just bolting and going to seed, and they was in the oak tunnels on the other side. So they get maximum sun all day, and I don't think that's really doing them any good. Plus, we could have a full row of canes across that side as well, growing all this peas and beans on them, so everything is put in a certain place. We can have all as greenhouses on one side of the garden, all as brassicas in rows in one area, and then an even bigger, longer row of those peas and beans. And we can mix up the varieties over the length, because it is quite a distance. And maybe next year we can actually get some cauliflowers or some broccoli, just for offering that little bit of a shade. But it's early days and we haven't pulled up so much as a cane yet to get that job started. But normally when we start and approach autumn, I start looking at garden in a different way, knowing that lots and lots of plants are coming to an end. And I know what worked and I know what didn't do so good. So I definitely think it's time for change. We'll get a different outlook on that garden. We'll move things around into different places. And to be fair, crop rotation is never a bad thing, because certain plants take more nutrients out of ground than others. So it's a good idea every year to swap all your crops around anyway. I'm going to look into that this coming week and start and make plans to rejig this garden to try and maximise that harvest for 2024. If you'd like to follow up progress of this garden over the next few months, then please hit that subscribe button, press that notifications bell, and I look forward to seeing you then. Take care.